Welcome again to my channel. Good morning, everyone. This is Trev from Trevessence, and today we are going to be reading the book of Joshua. Yes, yesterday we completed the reading of the book of Deuteronomy, and in the book of Deuteronomy, we discovered that Moses died in the book of Deuteronomy. Um, And according to the book, it is said that nobody knows where the sepulcher of Moses is. We are going to be doing some additional research to find out whatever happened to Moses, because I'm sure he didn't bury himself. So, so we will bring that to you at a later date. But right now, we are going to continue with the reading of the Bible. And if you're new here and you don't know what we are doing with the reading of the Bible, we are no theologians over here. I I for one, I have gone by the Bible all my life. However, at this juncture in life, I believe that it is pertinent not just for me, but for all of us to know what is in the Bible. What does it say? Considering the enormous impact that the Bible has on our daily lives, whether it is our personal, professional, or spiritual life. So, with that being said, I have embarked on this journey to read the Bible through and through, every chapter, every verse, every book, and share that journey with you so that we can have a layman's understanding, research what we can, and take it from there. And if at any point there is anybody in the chat who has come upon some literature, like I have people do oftentimes send me links to literature that they have come upon, that we can always peruse and determine, what is it saying in relations to what we are reading at the time, just to get us a better understanding. So if you are somebody who's interested in that, then we are here every single morning. Every morning we come on and we're reading the Bible and trying to understand what it is saying and how it impacts our lives. All right. So this morning I want to say welcome to everybody who is in the chat, who has come on. I want to say thank you all so much for stopping by. There is LCD. I see LCD. I see Sister Winsome as well. Also, my lovely Andrea is in the house. Andrea is in the house. Come on, Andrea, let us pray. Andrea is going to be praying for us this morning, guys. And the prayer is going to be in the chat. So let's pause for 10 seconds. All right. Thank you, Andrea. So we are going to be reading this morning from the book of Joshua. If you have your Google Bible or your book Bible, come with us and let us begin. Now, after the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord, it came to pass that the Lord spake unto Joshua, the son of Nun, Moses' minister, saying, Moses, my servant, is dead. Now therefore arise, go over this Jordan, thou and all this people, unto the land which I do give to them, even to the children of Israel. Every place that the sole of your foot shall tread upon, that have I given unto you, as I said unto Moses. From the wilderness, and this Lebanon. Okay, so Lebanon was in it as well. Hold on, people. Let me just take this somewhere here so that we can. All right, there we go. Okay, let's continue. We are on to verse 4. From the wilderness and this Lebanon, even unto the great river, the river Euphrates, all the land of the Hittites, and unto the great sea, toward the going down of the sun, shall be your coast. There shall not any man be able to stand before thee all the days of thy life. As I was with Moses, so I will be with thee. I will not fail thee, nor forsake thee. Be strong and of good courage, for unto this people shalt thou divide for an inheritance the land which I swear unto their fathers to give them. Only be thou strong and very courageous, that thou mayest observe to do according to all the law which Moses my servant commanded thee. Turn not from it to the right hand or to the left, that thou mayest prosper whithersoever thou goest. This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein. For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous, and then thou shalt have good success. Have not I commanded thee? Be strong and of good courage. Be not afraid, neither be thou dismayed, for the Lord thy God is with thee, whithersoever thou goest. Then Joshua commanded the officers of the people, saying, Pass through the host, and command the people, saying, Prepare you victuals, for within 3 days he shall pass over this Jordan, to go in to possess the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee to possess. And to the Reubenites, and to the Gadites, and to the half the tribe of Manasseh, Joshua spake unto them, saying, Remember the word which Moses thy servant of the Lord commanded you, saying, The Lord your God hath given you rest, and hath given you this land. So remember, before they went over the river Jordan, they were in the land of the Moabites. And remember, after Moses had waged that war over there with the Moabites and taken that land was given to Reuben, all of Reuben's tribe, all of Gad's tribe, and a half a tribe of Manasseh. So those tribes of the children of Israel did not get any land beyond the river Jordan, because they had already been given the land on the other side of the Jordan, where they had been camping, on the other side where Moses died. That's where they had been given that land, right after they had come out of the wilderness of Zin. So that was the Reubenites, the Gadites, and the half tribe of Manassites. But everybody else was allowed to cross over and go take the land of the Hittites across the river Jordan. Let us continue. Verse 14 of Joshua chapter 1. Your wives, your young ones, and your cattle shall remain in the land which Moses gave you on this side of Jordan. But he shall pass before your brethren armed, all the mighty men of valor, and keep them, until the Lord have given your brethren rest, as he hath given you, and they also have possessed the land which the Lord your God giveth them. Then ye shall return unto the land of your possession, and enjoy it, which Moses, the Lord's servant, gave you on this side Jordan, towards the sun rising. And they answered Joshua, saying, All that thou commandest us we will do, and whithersoever thou sendest us, we will go. So on the east of the river Jordan was where the Gadites, the Reubenites, and the half of Manassites were given. And then on the western side, where the sun, remember the Bible says where the sun goes down, that was where the others were given as a promised land. Verse 16. And they answered Joshua, saying, All that thou commandest us. Let's do that again. And they answered Joshua, saying, All that thou commandest us, we will do, and whithersoever thou sendest us, we will go. All right, have a good day. Okay, baby. All right, let's do that again. Verse 16. And they answered Joshua, saying, All that thou commandest us we will do, and whithersoever thou sendest us we will go. According as we hearkened unto Moses in all things, so will we hearken unto thee. Only the Lord thy God be with thee, as he was with Moses. Verse 18, and this is the last verse of chapter 1. Whosoever he be that doth rebel against thy commandment, and will not hearken unto thy words, in all that thou commandest him, he shall be put to death. Only be strong and of good courage. I mean, these people romanticize death so much. It is unbelievable. Everything you do, you shall be put to death. For everything, you shall be put to death. Anywho, it was. Sean, what's up? How are you doing? Yes, Sean, this is your morning's blessings. Lord bless Sean as he goes out this morning. So, you're not working today, or you're already at work since 6:21? How are you doing, my love? Blessings to you, family. Alrighty, we are going to move on to Joshua chapter 2. Because now Joshua is the one leading the children of Israel. Moses has died, and Joshua is leading them now over the river Jordan into the promised land. And Joshua, the son of Nun, went out of Shittim, 2 men to spy secretly. And Joshua, the son of Nun, sent out of Shittim 2 men to spy secretly, saying, Go view the land, even Jericho. And they went and came into a harlot's house, named Rahab, and lodged there. All right. Rahab was the name of the harlot. Verse 2. And it was told the king of Jericho, saying, Behold, there came men in hither tonight of the children of Israel to search out the country. Remember, that's what the Israelites usually do. I remember when they were in the wilderness, Moses had sent the men, Reuben and the others, to go search out the land of the Moabites, to see what was there, to see how fruitful the land was, whether or not they could survive there. And they went there and they came back. They said there were lots of grapes and pomegranates and olive trees, and the land seemed to be fruitful, and there was a lot of land for cattle. And so when they went over there and they slew the people and they took the land, Moses said the Lord told him that they should slay all the men, take the children and the women. And that's what they did. and they took the land. And then when they were there, he said, the Lord told him that because the land was so fruitful and there was so much pasture and green grass for the cattle, and since the Reubenites had so many animals, they were going to have to stay there. It was a good land. It was a good AG, what's up? No, the word is pranganat. That's what it is. He said they were going to have to stay there because the land was fruitful for them, and there would be lots and lots of pasture for their animals. So now Joshua is sending men across the river Jordan to go search out the land of the Hittites now, because this is their plan as well. They are going to be taking this quote-unquote promised land by force. Verse 3. And the king of Jericho sent unto Rahab, saying, Bring forth the men that are come to thee, which are entered into thine house, for they be come to search out all the country. And the woman took the 2 men and hid them, and said thus, There came men unto me, but I wist not whence they were. So Rahab sent back to tell the king of Jericho, that the men did come, but she had sent them away. And she didn't know where they had gone. Verse 5. And it came to pass about the time of shutting of the gate, when it was dark, that the men went out. Whither the men went, I not know. Pursue after them quickly, for ye shall overtake them. But she had brought them up to the roof of the house, and hid them with the stalks of flax, which she had laid in order upon the roof. All right. So Rahab hid the men on her roof, covered under thatch. But she told the king she didn't know where they were. She thought they had left. She believed they had left outside of the gates of the city. Because back then, guys, they used to build everybody wants to build their boundaries where they were always afraid of the enemies, because other tribes were always coming in to capture land, and there were wars all the time. So when they built their city, just like when we read the book of Nehemiah, and they built the city of Jerusalem, they built the walls around it so as to keep out the enemies. So that was the practice in those days. Many tribes were building walls around the perimeter of their land to keep out the enemy, and those gates were closed at night, which meant that the enemies could not access their land to come and kill and rob. So here Rahab is telling the king that the men left before the gates of the city of Jericho were closed. But if he were to go after them, he might catch up with them while they're hiding on top of her roof. Courtian is here. How are you doing, Courtian? Good to see you, my love. Let us continue. Verse 6 again. But she had brought them up to the roof of the house, and hid them with the stalks of flax, which she had laid in order upon the roof. And the men pursued after them the way to Jordan unto the fords. And as soon as they which pursued after them were gone out, they shut the gate. And before they were laid down, she came up unto them upon the roof. And she said unto the men, I know that the Lord hath given you the land, and that your terror is fallen upon us, and that all the inhabitants of the land faint because of you. For we have heard how the Lord dried up the water of the Red Sea for you when he came out of Egypt, and what he did unto the 2 kings of the Amorites that were on the other side of Jordan, Sihon and Og, whom he utterly destroyed. You all remember that? The two kings, Sihon and Og, that Moses said the Lord told him they were to destroy and take the land. And that's the land that he had given to the Reubenites, the Gadites, and the half of Manassites. Verse 11, and as soon as we had heard these things, our hearts did melt, neither did there remain any more courage in any man because of you. For the Lord your God, he is God in heaven above and in earth beneath. Now therefore, I pray you, swear unto me by the Lord, since I have shewed you kindness, that he will also shew kindness unto my father's house, and give me a true token, and that he will save alive my father and my mother and my brethren and my sisters and all that they have, and deliver our lives from death. And the men answered her, our life for yours, if he uttered not this our business. And it shall be, when the Lord hath given us the land, that we will deal kindly and truly with thee. So here, Rahab is sort of making a deal with these men to say, I will save you from the king of Jericho and the others. I will hide you. But you got to promise me, because I know what your tribe, what you all did to Sihon and Og. We know what happened, and we know that you all have a God that is traveling with you, that parted the sea for you all to walk through when you all were coming from Egypt. And we know the story about what this God has been doing for you all. And now that you all have come into our land, we know what's going to happen. We know that you are going to be slaying us and taking what we have. So I am going to be begging you this moment to spare my family. Spare us. You do this for me and I do that for you. And that's what Rahab was begging of the men. Verse 13. And that he will save alive my father and my mother and my brethren and my sisters and all that they have, and deliver our lives from death. And the men answered her, our life for yours, if he utter not this our business. And it shall be, when the Lord hath given us the land, that we will deal kindly and truly with thee. Gay's in the house, Ricky's in the house, and also Jennifer's in the house. Good morning, guys. How is everybody doing? Hope everybody's having a great morning. Verse 15. Then she let them down by a cord through the window, for her house was upon the town wall, and she dwelt upon the wall. And she said unto them, get you to the mountain, lest the pursuers meet you, and hide yourselves there for 3 days, until the pursuers be returned, and afterwards may he go your way. And the men said unto her, we will be blameless of this thine oath, which thou hast made us swear. Behold, when we come into the land, thou shalt bind this line of scarlet thread in the window, which thou didst let us down by, and thou shalt bring thy father and thy mother and thy brethren and all thy father's household home unto thee. Okay, so this is the deal. This is the deal that the men are making with Rahab. They are saying to Rahab, listen, this same scarlet thread on which you let us down, like it had to be like a scarlet rope that you let us down on, you're going to dangle it tight in your window, so that when we come back to take this land by force, we will see the scarlet thread in the window and your home will be spared. So bring your mother and your father and your sisters and your brothers into this house. because this house is a house that's going to be spared. Because we have made a deal. You save us, and we will save you. Modest is in the place. Good morning, Modest. How are you doing, my love? So good to see you. Now we are on to verse 19 of chapter 2 of the book of Joshua. And it shall be that whosoever shall go out of the doors of thy house into the street, his blood shall be upon his head, and we will be guiltless. And whosoever shall be with thee in the house, his blood shall be on our head, if any hand be upon him. So here they are giving Rahab the term. They are letting her know the terms and conditions of the agreement. If anybody in your house goes out during the war and they be killed, then they are not going to be responsible. The warriors who are coming in are not going to be responsible for their death, only if they are killed inside of her house. So it's like, you make sure everybody stays in, because if they are in, they should be safe. But if they venture out and they get killed, we are not responsible. Let's continue. Verse 20. And if thou utter this our business, then we will be quit of thine oath which thou hast made us to swear. And she said, according unto your word, so shall it be. And she sent them away, and they departed. And she bound the scarlet line in the window. And they went and came unto the mountain, and dwelt there for 3 days, until the pursuers were returned. And the pursuers sought them throughout all the way, but found them not. Verse 23. So the 2 men returned, and descended from the mountain, and passed over, and came to Joshua the son of Nun, and told him all the things that had happened to them. And they said unto Joshua, truly the Lord hath delivered into our hands all the land, for even all the inhabitants of the country do faint because of us. That's the end of Joshua chapter 2. And let me tell you, I'm reading from the King James Version. All right, so there, Joshua is now leading the children of Israel, and they are preparing to go take over Jericho and all the land to the west of the River Jordan. They are preparing to go to war to take that land by force, because they believe that is the promised land which their God had promised to Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, and now them, and it is theirs, and they're going over to take it by force. Now we are going to continue the reading. Welcome everybody. Kat is here. Welcome. Thank you all so much for coming. Don't forget to hit the like button, and don't forget to share out the stream. Don't forget to invite your friends to come on over into the live. Chapter 3. And Joshua rose early in the morning, and they removed from Shittim, and came to Jordan, he and all the children of Israel, and lodged there before they passed over. And it came to pass after 3 days that the officers went through the host. And they commanded the people, saying, when ye see the ark of the covenant of the Lord your God, and the priests, the Levites bearing it, then he shall remove from your place and go after it. Yes, that's what she said, Kyle, that she's at church. Yet there shall be a space between you and it, about 2,000 cubits by measure. Come not near unto it, that he may know the way by which he must go. For he have not passed this way. He had not passed this way before. And Joshua said unto the people, Sanctify yourselves, for tomorrow the Lord will do wonders among you. And Joshua spake unto the priests, saying, Take up the ark of the covenant, and pass over before the people. And they took up the ark of the covenant, and went before the people. And the Lord said unto Joshua, This day will I begin to magnify thee in the sight of all Israel, that they may know that as I was with Moses, so will I be with thee. And thou shalt command the priests that bear the ark of the covenant, saying, When ye are come to the brink of the water of Jordan, he shall stand still in Jordan. And Joshua said unto the children of Israel, Come hither, and hear the words of the Lord your God. And Joshua said, Hereby he shall know that the living God is among you, and that he will without fail drive out from before you the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Hivites, and the Perizzites, and the Girgashites, and the Amorites, and the Jebusites. Behold, the ark of the covenant of the Lord of all the earth passeth over before you into Jordan. Now therefore take you 12 men out of the tribes of Israel, out of every tribe a man. Oh yes, that promise is frightening, God. It is, and I can only imagine what, I don't think the children of Israel were even fazed by it, because they had been conditioned. They had been, if it was a brainwashing or it was tradition, they were mentally prepared for anything. And it's just the same way like we live today. We know the laws, so we know what the consequences are. So we avoid transgressing because we know what the consequences are. And so it was with them as well. They knew what the consequences would be. And there were no going around anything unless you found favor with the leaders of the tribes. Otherwise, it was going to be DEATH for you. And so the people knew that. And so they tried to act accordingly, even though, as we have been reading, we have found that it had been incredibly hard for people to live by these many laws and statutes and rules. It was complicated. As I was with Moses, so I will be with you. He just punished Moses. Exactly, God. You have been following closely. Oh, I love it. Yes, Moses was just punished severely. Severely, Moses was punished. And for those of you who don't know that Moses was punished, you might want to go back and read Deuteronomy or listen to the book of Deuteronomy. Moses was punished so much so that he was denied. He was denied the privilege of going over into the promised land. And at the last minute, when Moses was expecting to lead the children over into the promised land, that's when God told him, they shall go over, but not you, not you. And Moses protested, and he said, you chose me to take them out of Egypt, out of bondage. And I led them out of bondage. You parted the Red Sea. You allowed me to part the Red Sea, and I did, and led them through it. You allowed me to lead them for 40 years through the wilderness, and I did that. You allowed me to slay all these people on the eastern side of Jordan and take this land. And now the next step is to cross the river Jordan and go take the land on the western side of Jordan, which is the promised land. And now you're telling me that I'm not going to be going over there? The Lord said, you have sinned. You have transgressed my laws. Because remember, guys, we know that Moses did transgress. Remember, Moses told the people, God told him they should not marry anybody outside of the children of Israel. They should marry strangers. But he was married to a whole Ethiopian woman. And nobody could question him. Because remember, his brother Aaron and his sister Miriam had questioned him like, this don't even look right. How come you are leading the people and you are telling us that we are not supposed to be married to strangers, to the enemy, to the Gentiles, to anybody else? But here you are, married to a whole stranger. And he didn't like that. And quote unquote, the Lord didn't like that either. And so Miriam was struck down with leprosy because she had the audacity to question Moses, because Moses was supposedly above reproach. He wasn't supposed to be questioned about what he did. It's like, do as I say, but not as I do. And so I think the Lord piled up all of Moses' transgressions and waited for the last minute. That reminds me of stuff like my mom would do when I was a child. My mom would say, this Sabbath morning, you were supposed to leave, go to church on time. You didn't. You stay home and you lollygaga, you fool around. And then 11 o'clock, I see you just waltzing into church when you should have been there. When you should have been there since 9 o'clock. All right, she piled that up. Friday evening, you were supposed to clean your shoes. You were supposed to shine the house. Friday evening, you didn't do that. That is 2. Number 3, and she would pile them up. And you see, when she catches Sunday morning, she would give you a good walloping. And while she walloping you Sunday morning, she reminding you of every transgression you committed all week. So here was what was happening to Moses. Just as Moses was preparing for victory, for the final lap to go across the river Jordan to the promised land, the Lord said, you have not been the faithful servant that you should have been all this time. So you are not going over there. And you are old now. You are 120 years old. So it's your time. So go up on this mountain. Go up on this mountain. And this is where you can only look over on the promised land, but your foot shall not get over there. You shall die on this mountain. You shall see it, but you shall not experience it. Hey, T. Blair, how are you doing, my love? How are you, my darling? Good to see you. Well, it's true, Ricky. That is so true. I know many of you here are Jamaicans, and your mama used to do the same. That they say, okay, see, gay say that's the same thing my father used to do. Oh yeah. My mom and my aunt used to do us the same thing. Pile it all up. He never put, oh yes, T. Blair, he never put foot over there. All right? And I ask the question all the time, why was his punishment seemingly so harsh? It seemed like it was really harsh. And I can imagine that he probably died with a broken heart too at 120 years old. I think he probably died with a broken heart, because imagine all that he had done, and he was considered to be favored by God. Remember, he was in the burning, he was the one who witnessed the burning bush. God spoke to him through the burning bush and all that. And he had been you know, communicating with God this whole time, according to the Bible. And now here, he is punished the ultimate punishment. Before you go over there, you shall go under here. Let us continue. Verse 12 of chapter 3 of the book of Joshua. Now therefore take you 12 men out of the tribes of Israel, one out of every tribe. And it shall come to pass, as soon as the soles of the feet of the priests that bear the ark of the Lord of all earth, shall rest in the waters of Jordan, that the waters of Jordan shall be cut off from the waters that come down from above, and they shall stand upon a heap. And it came to pass, when the people removed from their tents to pass over Jordan, and the priests bearing the ark of the covenant before the people, and as they that bear the ark were come upon Jordan, and the feet of the priests that bear the ark were dipped in the brim of the water, for Jordan overfloweth all his banks at the time of the harvest, that the waters which came down from above stood and rose up upon a heap very far from the city Adam, that is beside Zeratan. And those that came down towards the sea of the plain, even the salt sea, failed and were cut off, and the people passed over right against Jericho. Okay, so the Lord promised them that as soon as they put foot, remember these priests, one from each tribe, they are leading the people across the river. And the Lord said, as soon as they put their foot in the water, the waters around, the water that's flowing in to the river from other streams shall dry up, so that they will have land to walk on, to go across. All right. My brother Green Nation is in the place. Hey Green Nation, how are you doing, my love? So good to see you as always. God says, I always say to people, what shall you say? You are blessed and highly favored of the Lord, because Mary was favored, yet her son ended up on the cross. That's a great question. That's a great thought. That's a great thought. Yeah, so even the people who were favored by God, the people who are considered to be his favorite, his leaders, his chosen people, had undergone some kinds of adversity throughout. Yes, Andrea. Andrea says Moses was heartbroken, and I believe he was. I can only imagine. It's almost like getting a divorce. Imagine that. Oh my gosh. God says, I'm okay, my dear, watching the clock to leave. That's what we do, Green Nation. We watch that clock, I tell you. God said, I always say to people, watch how you call yourself blessed and highly favored of the Lord. Because Mary was called blessed and highly favored, and her son ended up on the cross. Think about that. All right. I love when people think, I love open thoughts, because that is so true. We see a lot, as we have been reading the Bible, we have seen where a lot of people have gotten chastised by the Lord, even though they were considered to be chosen people. And here is the ultimate punishment for Moses. That title comes with a price. Yes, it does. It does come with a price. Let us continue. Verse 17, and this is the end of chapter 3 in the book of Joshua. And the priests that bear the ark of the covenant of the Lord stood firm on dry ground in the midst of Jordan, and all the Israelites passed over on dry ground until all the people were passed over clean into Jericho. Everybody. So here, just as just as Moses was able to part the Red Sea to allow the children of Israel to go across, so too as the Lord allowed Aaron to part the river Jordan, so that the children of Israel could cross over as well. We are going to continue reading because we are going to be reading chapter 4 as well. Let us continue. The story continues, guys. You can follow along in your Bible if you have your Bible or your Google Bible with you. You can follow along. Chapter 4 of the book of Joshua. And it came to pass, when all the people were clean passed over Jordan, that the Lord spake unto Joshua, saying, Take you 12 men out of the people, out of every tribe a man, and command ye them, saying, Take you hence out of the midst of Jordan, out of the place where the priest's feet stood firm, 12 stones, and he shall carry them over with you, and leave them in the lodging place where he shall lodge this night. Then Joshua called the 12 men whom he had prepared of the children of Israel, one out of every tribe. And Joshua said unto them, Pass over before the ark of the Lord your God into the midst of Jordan, and take up ye every man of you a stone upon his shoulder, according unto the number of the tribes of the children of Israel, that this may be a sign among you, that when your children ask their fathers in time to come, saying, What mean ye by these stones? Then ye shall answer them, that the waters of Jordan were cut off before the ark of the covenant of the Lord. When it passed over Jordan, the waters of Jordan were cut off, and these stones shall be for a memorial unto the children of Israel forever. Right there, so guys, that means that they did bring over somebody from the Reubenites and the Gadites. Because remember, the Reubenites, the Gadites, and the half of Manassites were given the eastern side of Jordan. They were given the eastern side, and they were supposed to stay there. So with them saying that one person from each tribe is going across, let me see this. Green Nation says, did the Bible say when and how Moses died? Well, according to Deuteronomy, it said that he died, he was 120 years old, and he died right before they went over, they were supposed to go over the River Jordan. It didn't say how, so we just assumed that it was of old age. But we know that at the time of his death, he was in contention with the Lord, because the Lord had told him that he was not going to be going over. And the Lord had relayed to him his transgressions, all the transgressions that he had committed. And that because of these transgressions, he was not going to be allowed to go over, to lead the people over into the promised land. And so he was going to die there. But it also said that nobody knows where Moses' sepulcher is. So I am currently trying to do some research to find out if I can find any information about where Moses is supposedly have been buried. because I'm sure he didn't bury himself. You know what happened to his body. I've been reading and hearing different stories about what happened to his body, but I don't know for sure because the Bible didn't say. As far as I have read so far, it says, and no one knows where his sepulcher is. That's what it said. So, and let us continue. Yes, so I was saying that the clearly somebody from each tribe went over to the promised land, even though the land east of the river Jordan was already given to the Reubenites, the Gadites, and the half of Manassites. Because here he says, each man from each tribe should pick up a stone. And the stone is supposed to be proof that at some point, the river Jordan did go dry enough for them to go across. Hold on, let me see. Nation says, because I know he charged Joshua and strengthened him to lead the people. Yes, to lead the people because and turn back to the wilderness for his punishment. No one sees him died. Okay, well, it said that he died upon Mount Sinai, upon Mount Pisgah. He said he died there. So I don't know, but I'm sure as we read more into the Bible and other literature, we will find out some more. But I know that at that point, he was arguing with God about all that he had done and why he, of all people, was not going to be allowed to go into the promised land. He gave Aaron his blessings to the. Well, Aaron had already died. Aaron had already died before Moses. So Aaron didn't go to the promised land at all. He was already dead. But he gave Joshua. Moses gave Joshua his blessings, and he schooled Joshua. He schooled Joshua and prepared Joshua to take over from him. And so Joshua did take over from him. So Joshua was the one who led the people across into the promised land. Yeah, I realize that. That's okay, T-Bear. I realize that, my sister. All right. So let us continue. You know, once I find new information, I'll be happy to come and share it with you. But for right now, that's where we are at. So he has told them, Joshua has told the people to each of the representatives for each tribe need to pick up a stone, bring the stone with them into the promised land. And this is going to be, there's going to be the story around each of these stones. They will tell their generations to come that at one point when we were coming across the river Jordan, the Lord dried a path for us so that we could come through. And in that dried path, we each picked up a stone, and each of these stones represent a tribe of Israel. Because of his disobedience, him alone live in the wilderness. They say he died there, but no one see it happen. Well, possible, Joshua. Well, maybe that's exactly what happened. Maybe that's what happened, nation. Because they say nobody no sees sepulcher. So did he die there alone? Did he die alone? I don't know. Did he end up dying there and eaten by the fowls of the air? Who knows? Joshua and Caleb from that generation were the only two that crossed over to the promised land. Oh, Caleb wasn't Caleb Reuben's grandson? I'm going to take a look at that again. But I think, hold on, let me look this up. I think, I think Caleb was Reuben's grandson. Let me see. Hmm. Let's see what the Bible says. All right, Numbers chapter 13. Numbers. Son of Jephunneh. Okay, so I was thinking whether or not Caleb was from the tribe of Reuben, but here it says in Numbers chapter 13, verse 3 to 15. So Moses sent them off from the wilderness of Paran at the command of God. All of them were leaders in Israel, one from each tribe. These were their names: from Reuben, Shammua, son of Zakur; from Simeon, Shaphat, son of Ori; from Judah, Caleb, son of Jephunneh; from Issachar. Okay, so Caleb was from the tribe of Issachar. Okay, let us continue. Andrea said, wasn't there any sinners among the people taking over the promised land? Of course, yes. Of course, yes, Andrea. Don't you think? I think they were all sinners, I believe. Of course. I mean, they all transgressed. But the punishment to Moses was harsh. I believe his punishment was really harsh. Andrea, I'm not sure, because after Moses of the mountain and see what people did, God let them stay there for many years till all those who sin against die there and the other enter the promised land. You know, well, we did read about that too, in the book of Numbers, I believe it was, where the Lord had told Moses that he's going to make them wander in the wilderness until all the wicked people had died out. But we see from the acceptance of our human frailty that no matter how hard they tried, they all transgressed regardless of how hard they tried, because there were hundreds of laws and bylaws and statutes that they had to live by. And that is why they had to be sacrificing animals day and night. Day and night they were sacrificing animals for their sin. They had drink offering, meat offering, bread offering, tithe offering, sin offering. They had to be sacrificing all day long because they couldn't keep up. They couldn't keep up with all of these laws, bylaws. I'm Green Nation, son of Moses and the tribe of Moses. Green Nation is the son of what tribe are you, host? Master, God say, Caleb Bush from the tribe of Judah. Believe me, I don't know. I don't know. You say you from the tribe of Moses. Moses. Which tribe was Moses of? Moses was... Whose tribe was Moses of? Come on, Cod. Which tribe was Moses of? Moses was the son. Moses. Okay, so Joseph and his brothers, those were the sons of Jacob, right? Come on, come. I need to know. Caleb was the tribe of Judah. Really? So why this says something different? Oh, Caleb. Oh yeah, Caleb was the tribe of Judah and Reuben. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Let's continue. Let us continue. Does that mean that Green Nation is rebellious? It sounds so. He says, not me. He said his father was, but not him. He's not rebellious. But we are going to continue reading chapter 4. We're going to start over with chapter 4. Let's start over with chapter 4, my friends. And it came to pass, when all the people were clean passed over Jordan, that the Lord spake unto Joshua, saying, Take you 12 men out of the people, out of every tribe 1 man, and command ye them, saying, Take you hence out of the midst of Jordan, out of the place where the priest's feet stood firm, 12 stones, and he shall carry them over with you, and leave them in the lodging where he shall lodge tonight. Then Joshua called the 12 men whom he had prepared of the children of Israel, out of every tribe 1 man. And Joshua said unto them, Pass over before the ark of the Lord your God into the midst of Jordan, and take ye up every man of you a stone upon his shoulder, according unto the number of the tribes of the children of Israel, that this may be a sign among you, that when your children ask their fathers in time to come, saying, What do these stones mean? Then ye shall answer them, that the waters of Jordan were cut off before the ark of the covenant of the Lord. When it passed over Jordan, the waters of Jordan were cut off, and these stones shall be for a memorial unto the children of Israel forever. And the children of Israel did so as Joshua commanded, and took up 12 stones out of the midst of Jordan, as the Lord spake unto Joshua, according to the number of the tribes of the children of Israel, and carried them over with them unto the place where they lodged, and laid them down there. Verse 9. And Joshua set up 12 stones in the midst of Jordan, in the place where the feet of the priests which bear the ark of the covenant stood, and they were there until this day. For the priests which bear the ark stood in the midst of Jordan, until everything was finished, that the Lord commanded Joshua to speak unto the people, according to all that Moses commanded Joshua. And the people hasted and passed over. And it came to pass, when all the people were clean passed over, that the ark of the Lord passed over, and the priest in the presence of the people. And the children of Reuben, and the children of Gad, and the children of the half a tribe of Manasseh passed over, armed before the children of Israel, as Moses spake unto them. Oh, so they were indeed allowed to pass over. So there, my conflict resolved. They were indeed allowed to pass over as well. Okay. After 40,000, about. Winsome, what's up? Host, next we should read Revelation, because all that has happened now seems like the last day. So let's get into that book. Well, we will get there. We are reading in order with a little bit of diversion, because we are making sure that we read this book page by page so that we can try to understand it. So the Reubenites, the Gadites, and the half of Manassites really did cross over into the promised land as well. Let us continue. Okay. About 40,000 prepared for war passed over before the Lord unto battle to the plains of Jericho. I'm wondering if they are going to go back, if they are only coming to add numbers for the war. but they are going to go back to east of the River Jordan. I'm not sure yet, but I'm thinking it and I'm saying it out loud. Let us continue reading. I'm sure we will find out. About 40,000 prepared for war passed over before the Lord unto battle to the plains of Jericho. On that day, the Lord magnified Joshua in the sight of all Israel, and they feared him as they feared Moses all the days of his life. So you see, the people were not just, they were not worshiping and trying to uphold all these statues and stuff. They were doing it out of fear. They were deathly afraid. And that is why everything Moses told them to do, they did. Because they were deathly afraid. Because remember, every punishment seemed to be with death. Everything they did, no matter how simple it seemed, the punishment was always death. And so the Bible always talks about how afraid the people were of Moses. And now they are afraid in the same way of Joshua. Verse 15 says, And the Lord spake unto Joshua, saying, Command the priests that bear the ark of the testimony, that they come up out of Jordan. Joshua therefore commanded the priests, saying, Come ye up out of Jordan. And it came to pass, when the priests that bear the ark of the covenant of the Lord were come up out of the midst of Jordan, and the soles of the priest's foot were lifted up unto the dry land, that the waters of Jordan returned unto their place, and flowed over all his banks, as they did before. And the people came up out of Jordan on the 10th day of the first month. All right. On the 10th day of the first month was when the people came out of Jordan. And they encamped in Gilead, in the east border of Jericho. Okay. And those 12 stones which they took out of Jordan did Joshua pitch in Gilgal. Verse 21. And he spake unto the children of Israel, saying, When your children shall ask their fathers in time to come, saying, What mean these stones? What do these stones mean? Then he shall let your children know, saying, Israel came over this Jordan on dry land. For the Lord your God dried up the waters of Jordan from before you until ye were passed over, as the Lord your God did to the Red Sea, which he dried up from before us until we were all passed over. Verse 24 of Joshua chapter 4, that all the people of the earth might know the hand of the Lord, that it is mighty, that he might fear the Lord your God forever. Fear the Lord your God. Fear is the operative word there. Fear. All right, he says the younger generation passed over, but from the older generation, it was only Caleb and Joshua. Oh, really? Okay. Okay, T. Blair said Joshua was a powerful man of God. That's where the fear comes from. Yes, but these people live their lives in fear their whole lives. The whole generation was living in fear. Yeah, they're all, and it's just like Christianity today, with not just Christianity, but any religious practice these days. It's always with fear, because there is always a punishment attached to a transgression. So people follow not because They want to, or because they believe that a lot of people, not because they believe that, well, this is the right thing to do, but out of fear of hellfire. Now the fear is not of instant death like it was back then, but the fear of hellfire. Because if you imagine yourself going to be burnt in a fire, you're going to be in this fire burning and you can't die. And you keep burning. That fear, if you think about it, that fear will make you do things that you otherwise wouldn't do. And even though we try, we still sin. Reverential fear, exactly, God. Punishment was more serious back then. This is to weaken one's spirit, so to obey, Andrea says. But the thing is, if I have to be so deathly afraid for me to obey, what kind of mental state am I in to obey in the first place? What mental state am I in? That I have to be so afraid. The punishment back then was not just harsh, Sister T. Blair, but it was immediate. Right, nation? It was immediate. You weren't getting some days. It's like you were put to DEATH right away. If they were going to strike you with leprosy, it's not going to be 2 years down the road. You're going to be struck with leprosy right now. Your punishment is right now. If you were going to be STONED, it was going to be right now. The punishment was harsh and immediate. Okay? And while we are at it, and this is so interesting, we are going to read chapter 5 as well. Once again, I want to say thanks to you all who have come into the chat. Those of you who are actively participating, I sincerely appreciate you. Don't forget to hit that like button once you come into the live, my friends. I sincerely appreciate it. And share the live, invite your friends to come on over and let us discuss this, the Bible amongst ourselves. Nations and people did fear God in those days. Exactly. You think nowadays because the punishment is so far away that is why they are no longer as fearful as they were then? And even with the fears that existed then, they still sinned. They still transgressed. I think people should do the right thing because it is the right thing to do, and look forward to the gratification they get from doing the right thing, as opposed to doing the right thing just because I am afraid that if I don't, I'm going to be severely punished. My thoughts. Chapter 5 of the book of Joshua. Let's read. And it came to pass, when all the kings of the Amorites, which were on the side of Jordan westward, and all the kings of the Canaanites, which were by the sea, heard that the Lord had dried up the waters of Jordan from before the children of Israel, until we were passed over, that their hearts melted, neither was their spirit in them any more, because of the children of Israel. At that time, the Lord said unto Joshua, Make thee sharp knives, and circumcise again the children of Israel a second time. Huh? Let's read that again. At that time, the Lord said unto Joshua, Make thee sharp knives, and circumcise again the children of Israel the second time. And Joshua made him sharp knives, and circumcised the children of Israel at the hill of the foreskins. Wait. So they were circumcised the first time. Now they must be circumcised the second time? They were circumcised the first time. Now they must be circumcised the second time. Is it because they're over now into a new land? I'm curious to find out. Let's continue reading. And Joshua made him sharp knives, and circumcised the children of Israel at the hill of the foreskins. And this is the cause why Joshua did circumcise all the people that came out of Egypt that were males. Even all the men of war died in the wilderness by the way, after they came out of Egypt. So as we were saying before, the people who had come out of Egypt, they had all died out. They had gotten old and died out from them having lived in the wilderness all these years. So that generation was passed off into the wilderness. They passed off, died, buried in the wilderness. So now, this is another generation. And this is, verse 4 says, and this is the cause why Joshua did circumcise all the people that came out of Egypt that were males, even all the men of war died in the wilderness by the way, after they had come out of Egypt. Now all the people that came out were circumcised, but all the people that were born in the wilderness by the way, as they came forth out of Egypt, them they had not circumcised. Okay, so there is the answer. Hey, Tuba Chat, what's up? How are you doing? There is Tuba Chat. There is Tuba Chat. Okay. Yes, he had told them to circumcise their hearts, but I believe they were still practicing the act of circumcision. So it says here, the men who had come out of Egypt, they were circumcised, but all those people had died out in the wilderness. So this new generation that were born in the wilderness, they were not circumcised. So these were the people who were crossed over now into the promised land. So now Joshua has the arduous task of circumcising these people, these men now. Because these were the ones, the generation of those that were born in the wilderness. Winsome, I am on chapter 5 of the book of Joshua, verse 5. Now all the people that came out were circumcised, but all the people that were born in the wilderness by the way, as they came forth out of Egypt, them they had not circumcised. For the children of Israel walked 40 years in the wilderness, till all the people that were men of war, which came out of Egypt, were consumed, because they obeyed not the voice of the Lord, unto whom the Lord sware that he would not show them the land which the Lord sware unto their fathers that he would give us, a land that floweth with milk and honey. So that was the punishment for the people who came out of the land of Egypt and came to the promised land. That was their punishment. Yes, the older generation had died out because they had transgressed. So they died out in the wilderness. Verse 7, and their children, whom he raised up in their stead, them Joshua circumcised, for they were uncircumcised, because they had not circumcised them by the way. And it came to pass, when they had done circumcising all the people, that they abode in their places in the camp until they were whole. So that means until they were healed. So they stayed in the camp. They crossed the river Jordan, and they were now on the eastern end of Jericho. And that's where they had camped. Now they are circumcised, and he's waiting until everybody is whole again, until their circumcision wounds are healed. And the Lord said unto Joshua, This day have I rolled away the reproach of Egypt from off you. Wherefore the name of the place is called Gilgal unto this day. And the children of Israel encamped in Gilgal, and kept the Passover on the 14th day of the month, at even in the plains of Jericho. And they did eat of the old corn of the land on the morrow after the Passover, unleavened cakes and parched corn in the selfsame day. And the manna ceased on the morrow after they had eaten of the old corn of the land. Neither had the children of Israel manna any more, but they did eat of the fruit of the land of Canaan that year. Exactly. So God has a great point there. God says, I don't understand how that is so. If the Jewish custom is to circumcise everyone on the 8th day. Well, I'm not sure if that was from a tradition that was changed, or why, while they were in the wilderness, they didn't practice circumcision. Maybe that was one of their transgressions. Maybe that was one of their transgressions, because remember, the Lord had cursed them while they were in the wilderness, because he said they were stiff-necked and they were not following the teachings. So maybe that was one of their transgressions, and that is why he had to wait until these stiff-necked, hard-headed people had died out. And then the newer generation, now he was going to recondition the newer generation recondition them with the old teachings. Since the new people, since the older people who had, just suddenly forsaken the laws until they had died out. Let's move on to verse 12 of chapter 5. And the manna ceased on the morrow after they had eaten of the old corn of the land. Neither had the children of Israel manna any more, but they did eat of the fruit of the land of Canaan that year. Verse 13. And it came to pass, when Joshua was by Jericho, that he lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, there stood a man over against him with his sword drawn in his hand. And Joshua went unto him and said unto him, Art thou for us, or for our adversaries? And he said, Nay, but as captain of the host of the Lord am I now come. And Joshua fell on his face to the earth, and did worship, and said unto him, What saith my Lord unto his servant? And the captain of the Lord's host said unto Joshua, Loose thy shoe from off thy foot, for the place whereon thou standest is holy. And Joshua did so. Here ends the reading of Joshua chapter 5. Now this morning we have read the first 5 chapters of the book of Joshua, where the children of Israel have now crossed over the river Jordan. They are now in the land of Canaan. They are now on the other side of the river Jordan, where they will now seize and possess the land which is considered to be the land which the Lord their God had promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and now to them, the children of the descendants of Abraham. When we come back tomorrow, my friends, we will continue the reading of the book of Joshua. For those of you who are new into the channel, I want to say welcome. Thank you so much for coming. I sincerely appreciate you. To all my returning travelers, I want to say thank you for your continued support and for contributing to the chat. I sincerely appreciate your contribution, everybody. T. Blair, Card, Green Nation, Ricky, Tuba Chat, Winsome, Andrea, and everybody else who has come into the chat. I know LCD was here as well. Several other people were here. Maybe I'm not remembering everybody at the moment. I know Courtian was here, and so too was Gail was here as well. I sincerely appreciate each and every one of you. Sister Winsome, we will be back tomorrow morning, same time, same place, on Trevessence Unstoppable, where we will continue the reading of the book of Joshua. I hope this morning you all learned something from the reading, as I as I have been enlightened by all of this new discovery of information that is in the Bible. You are welcome, and my clock reached now, so it's home time. Very nice reading. You are very welcome, my brother nation. You are very welcome. And to all the lovely listeners here on the live, thank you so much, T. Blair. It's my absolute pleasure. I'm glad you all enjoy the reading, and I hope the others of you enjoy the reading as much as I enjoyed bringing it to you. That's going to be it from me for now, my friends. Until next time, this is Trev from Trevessence, where your journey matters. Have yourselves a great day, everybody.